Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage, and today we're going to be having a look at Ethereum. Let's go into price action and discuss what we think is going on here. What we were talking about yesterday is actually looking for a move down towards this 1873 to this 1834 region. We were talking about the potential of actually having a diagonal here to complete and looking for this this potential for that the fifth wave was actually looking to complete as either a diagonal here or potentially into this low, and then we were looking for a diagonal as a fifth wave here. The problem is we actually broke down from that structure and we lost that bottom line here. So it doesn't really fit the structure anymore that we were looking for. So we need to be a little bit cautious with this. We have come down into this target area, so I'm going to be monitoring this move to the upside. But really, what we want to see for confirmation that we have a completed move into this low is basically breaking back above this 1982. But even then, what we'd have to be careful of is if we are looking at a move to the upside, we need to make sure that it had good structure. If we just get a three-wave move that moves up towards this 2073 to this 1983 area, this could then indicate that we could see continuation to the downside, where this is just a bigger A wave, a B wave, and then we get a C wave, or alternatively, this could end up being a bigger structure as a five-wave move to the downside, looking for much more impulsive targets. So that one-to-one, if we did have to come up towards the 0.618, would be looking for the 1704. That would be quite an interesting area, as it would be coming back into this area and retesting some of these lower levels. We're going to discuss a couple of the counts that we have in a second, but this is what I'm just primarily looking out for because ETH has got good structure, but BTC has lost its structure. So potentially, this could be an early warning that we've actually completed into this high and we could see lower prices coming in here. If we did move up towards this zone of this 2030 to this 2020, had rejection and moved down towards this 1509, then what we'd be looking at here is a bigger five-wave move where this would become our wave three. We'd get a fourth wave and then continuation for a fifth wave to the downside. So this is what we need to be mindful of when we are looking at these current moves to the downside. Obviously, it is also always possible that within these structures they're continuing to extend out. So it is possible that we could complete into this low, but what we have to be mindful of is there is still the potential that this could be another 1-2 here, and we're setting up for additional structure to the downside, which could look to push us down even lower. So we need to get back above some of these key levels to invalidate that. Really, until we actually break back above these zones, we need to just be careful that we don't have, additional structure here where this is a fourth and a fifth, then we get another fourth and a fifth and look to push down. So that would look something like this. So looking at the structure slightly differently, what we can argue is that we have 1-2. This is 1-2-3-4-5 into here. This is a fourth. And then potentially we're looking to extend out to the downside. So instead of looking at this as a diagonal in this instance, I'm looking at this potentially as another series of ones and twos. So this would then indicate to us that basically within the structure, we could be looking for a fourth wave. So an interesting area that I'm looking to keep an eye on here is basically this previous trend line that was offering us some support earlier. It is also tying up with a 50% retracement of this structure here. So I want to see if we get just a three-wave move up into this zone. If we face rejection, we could be looking to set up for another fifth wave to the downside. This would look to take us to this 1830 to the 1795. And then if we do move down here, we'd have to be cautious of the idea of having an additional fourth wave to the upside, which could look to come and revisit some of these areas, potentially even retest this trend line, depending on how we break down. If we break down deeper here, and actually this fourth wave is completed here, and this is a 1-2, we get 3-4-5, and we come down lower here, I'd be keeping an eye on this channel once again for a potential area that we could see that fourth wave come into, or alternatively this line. But this could mean that we still have a bit down to go towards this 1790 to this 1764. So this is looking at this move as a impulse to the downside. So an interesting area, if we do come down here, would be this 3.618, which is sitting over here at the 1799. So that would be a 3.618 of this as a wave one. So this is an area I'm keeping an eye on. If we do extend down even further, potentially this 1708 would be a 4.618. Now that would be once again bringing us down into this lower range here. Of these lows and retesting some of this previous structure. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. The internals here, once again, we have to be careful because there's nothing, at the moment I'm just counting this as one, two, three. There is still the potential that, the third wave could even be extending where this becomes another one and a two in here, even though it's really shallow. These things do sometimes happen, particularly in wave threes, which would then mean that, potentially we could be looking for a much deeper move here. I'm just going to change this and put this onto the so if we actually break down much deeper here and we cross the 1657, it becomes more likely that actually within the structure we have, another one and a two here, and this is all becoming a third wave, and then we get another fourth and a fifth, and then we'd be looking for another fourth and a fifth. And that would then give us a bigger five-wave move to the downside like this. Now, the problem with this is if we have a five-wave move down like this, it can either be a ending wave or a beginning wave. So this would either be an a B, and a C, and we break down further, or this would become, one, two, three, four, five, or this from further back here, we'd have to try and argue that this could potentially be some kind of a flat correction. The problem is because of the size of this wave here, I don't really like it, but we'd have to just keep an eye on this. If we do get a bigger five-wave move to the downside, we're going to have to watch the retracement up. If it just happens in three waves, we'll be potentially looking for continuation. If, however, we start to get five-wave structure to the upside, which then finds support and takes this high, basically we have to then treat this move to the downside as an ending move. So we'd have to then reevaluate how exactly we're looking at this internal count, and potentially we could argue A, B, and C. The problem with this is that um, this B wave would have been very strong if that's the case. So it's very unlikely in my opinion, but we will have to still monitor it anyway. So in the short term, like I said, I'm looking out for this potential here of either this fourth wave being completed in here already, or alternatively, we're still within this fourth wave and we could look to push up towards some of these higher areas, retest this channel. 1 to 1 would actually be this 1881. So if we do continue to push up here and we maintain this low, or even if we do form more structure like this, A, B, C, and then push up, this could still be a target area, this 1881. Obviously, if we do come down one more time, potentially this would change that 1 to 1 and could make it align more with this 50%. So going to keep an eye on this. If we maintain this low, I'm still looking for that potential of this fourth to push up a little bit more. If we do get that, this would be an interesting area, this 50%. If we start to break above this 50% and we start to take out some of these areas like this 1898 area, for instance, that would invalidate this fifth wave here, the yellow one. And then if we moved up higher, this 1923, that would invalidate this blue wave here. But really, though, we need to break these highs because otherwise what we could have is that we inform another one, come back up in a three-wave move as a 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it just breaks down even further again. So this is going to be key. We're going to be needing to break these highs and get above these levels. And even if we do, though, like I said, we need to be cautious around this zone of this 2073 to this 1983 area. It is possible then we could still look for resistance in this zone and, even potentially see something more like this where we have a bigger channel to the downside. I mean, that wouldn't take us up as high, but it's still something worth keeping an eye on if we do move higher here. We could see something like this from further back, or, we just continue with the current count that we're looking at. But really, I want to see, for confirmation that we're actually done here, one thing I want to see is a breakout of this channel, and then getting back above these levels. If we fail to do that, then we have to just continue to look for more downside to come here because the structure isn't clean. So this either means we got a correction or we got some extensions in here. So talking of that, really ETH hasn't invalidated that bullish potential that it had previously. Because ETH hasn't invalidated that bullish potential, what we can still see is that this is still a viable count here, and we are holding that support area. So the one thing that we're looking at here is that basically this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as an expanding diagonal. The problem is the way this is broken down and the fact that BTC is looking to potentially break down deeper as well. It makes it less likely, but we are sitting right here in this golden pocket, this 1858 to this 1844. So this, this could potentially just be a corrective move. The problem is how we would count it we'd have to argue that within this, potentially we have something like this, then one, two, three, four, five, and then we'd have a small wave here, and then we'd have another one, two, three, four. I'd still expect another push down though, to be honest. But we'll have to see. Uh, if it's corrective, we'll only really know once we take this high, because, like I said, if we get a three-wave move up here and we don't take this high, I would be anticipating further downside. So my sort of this is my next best interpretation. I want to see this prove itself though. We've actually come down into some of these lower areas now. Need to see if the support holds, and we want to see this start to build, five-wave structure to the upside, something like this, and then look for another retracement to find support, possibly back above these highs again. And that would give us an indication that we could be looking for higher to come. Until that happens, we need to just be careful of the fact that we could actually still look to break to the downside here even further. If we wanted to argue, however, that this is A, B, and looking for that C wave, what we could potentially look for is a move down towards the 1764, which would be quite an interesting zone because it would be looking to actually target out this low again. So if we do have some more to come down here, and we come down to the 1764, or even potentially a little bit higher towards the 1782, would be a 0.786 retracement. We do have that potential to look to continue to the upside. So keep an eye on these levels if we do break down. If we do break to the upside, keep an eye on this zone of this 2073 to this 1983. This could offer us rejection within this area. Obviously, we do have a big gap up here now, so it wouldn't surprise me at some point to come back up and retest this area, potentially, come back up in towards the 786 even, or the 702, which would be here at this 2047 currently. So just something to keep an eye on. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. As well as that, you'll find affiliate links for both Primex BT and BYBIT down there, both great exchanges we use on a regular basis. If you don't have a account, using the affiliate link does help support the channel. Everyone, have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.